So this video we're going to be talking about measuring angles and different types of angles and what parts of them are called. Okay, so when we're measuring an angle has two rays. So remember, a ray is something that is like a point with an arrow. Has two rays with the same endpoint. So they're going to be sharing this same endpoint here. And then we got our two rays. Okay, so something like this. So an angle is going to be something that has the two rays that share that same angle. Okay, so our vertex is going to be this little point. You can see that it creates kind of like a V for vertex here. Okay, these are going to be our sides or our legs. So when we're naming this angle, we could name the angle BAC. So we start with B, then we go to A, then C. Or we could go the opposite direction, C, then A, then B. A always sits in the middle, okay? The vertex, the thing that starts that point down there, is always going to be in the middle. So my A is always going to be in the middle when we're naming angles. Okay? Or we could talk about the vertex only. So we could say angle A. Or angle 1 if it is numbered, since it's numbered here. So types of angles. An acute angle. An acute angle is anything from 0 degrees to 90 degrees. It is acute. It's going to be smaller. An obtuse is going to be something that is bigger. So it's going to be between 90 and 180 degrees. Okay, it is obtuse. It's bigger than 90. A right angle is anything that creates a 90-degree angle. It is always 90 degrees. It is a right angle. A straight angle is basically a ray or a line, so that's going to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so this line always equals 180 degrees. A straight angle is always 180 degrees. Okay, congruent angles have the same measure, just like when we were doing congruent lines and congruent segments. They were congruent, they were the same. So congruent angles always have these same angles measures. Okay. So when we're doing this, so say I have these two angles, we're going to mark angle congruencies with arcs. Okay, so we have these little arcs in here to show that they are congruent. So the measure of angle A, because we have a letter here, so the measure, so we put an M in front when we're talking about the measures of them. If we're just talking about angle A, then it would be different. But right now we're talking about congruent angles, which means congruent measures, meaning they have the same degrees, the same measuring angle. So the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle B, okay, which means they are congruent. So we have the little congruent side. Angle A is congruent to angle B. Okay, angle addition postulate. If point B is in the interior of angle AXC, then the measure of angle AXB plus the measure of angle BXC equals the measure of angle AXC. So this kind of throwing it at you, you're probably like, wow, I don't understand anything it's saying. So here's my picture. Okay, the measure of angle, here I'm going to do a little highlighter action here. The measure of angle AXB, so we got, oh, that was bad. Hold on. Measure of angle AXB, so we got that angle. And then measure of angle BXC, so BXC, okay, it's right here. So we have the measure of angle AXC. When we're adding these two angles together, we should equal the entire angle, so the measure of angle AXC. So if we measure the two small angles in the big one, if we add them together, it should equal the big one, basically. Okay, so let's try this. If the measure of angle LYN is equal to 125, so that means that big angle is 125, okay? This huge angle is 125 degrees. Okay? Find the measure of angle LYM, and measure of angle MYN. Okay, so the measure of both of those smaller angles. So if we want to do it, we could add both of these two small angles together and set it equal to the big angle. So we're going to do 2p minus 2 plus 4p plus 7 is equal to the big angle. okay? Because if we measure the two small angles, we should get the size of the big angle. So 2p plus 4p is 6p. Negative 2 plus 7 is 5. Subtract 5 from both sides. So 6p equals 125. Oh, equals 120, sorry. Divide both sides by 6. So we should get p equals 20. Okay? But you need to check to see what it's asking for. Okay? It's asking for the measure of both of those angles. I don't want to know what p is. It's not asking what is p. Okay? It's asking for the measure of both of those smaller angles. So we got to substitute p in for those equations to figure out what those smaller angles equal. So let's take the measure of angle LYM. So let's substitute p in. So p is 20 plus 7. Okay? So 4 times 20 is 80. So 87. Okay? So this angle right here, because we substituted p in for this equation right here, so that angle equals 87 degrees. Okay, let's do the other one. 2 times 20 minus 2. So 2 times 20 is 40. 40 minus 2 is 38. Okay, so this angle right here is 38. Okay, so that entire thing is supposed to equal 125. So if I take 38 plus 87, it should equal 125. Okay, so put that in your calculator, and it does. It equals 125. So here are just the different steps. Okay, using a protractor. So this is what a protractor looks like. We're going to try to find the measure of the angles. So, when we're first doing this, we got to find the angles first. Okay, so let's find the measure of angle FDE. So we got FDE. Okay, so it looks like it is sitting right past that it's between 30 and 40. So if it's between 30 and 40, we're looking at these lower numbers here for this, okay? So if it's between 30 and 40, obviously the number in between 30 and 40 is 35 degrees, okay? We're always talking about degrees when we're talking about the measure of angles. Let's see the next one. FDB, so we got FDB this time. So if I'm looking at the number down here, what is between 150 and 160? Well, 155 is. Okay. If I wanted to know if they were acute, obtuse, and all that stuff, well, acute is anything between 0 and 90, so this would be acute. 155 is anything between 90 and 180. Okay, it is obtuse. It's a bigger angle. Okay, so this one is obtuse. So let's do the next one. Measure of angle ADB. Okay, this one, since we're looking to the left, you can tell that that's a smaller angle. It's going to have to be acute because it's not going to be bigger than 90 degrees. So we're going to be looking at these top numbers this time. So it's got to be between 20 and 30. So this is 25 degrees, and it is acute because it is smaller than 90 degrees. Because remember, a 90-degree angle is something that looks like this. Okay? Obtuse is something that's bigger than 90 and 180. Okay, so let's try the next one. ADE, so we got ADE. This one is bigger than 90 degrees, so we know it's going to be obtuse. If I can write that in there. Okay, so we're going to look at the top numbers again because we're going left to right. So it's between 140 and 150, so it should be 145. And anything greater than 90 degrees is going to be obtuse, so that was right. So let's try the next one. So measure of angle EDB, so EDB. Okay, this one's a little bit different. So we could do either the bottom or the top. So let's say this starts over here at 25 on the top. This one starts at 145. So to figure out what this total is, I got to take 145 minus 25, okay? So 145 minus 25 means the total is 120 degrees, which again is obtuse because it's bigger than 90. Sorry, you can't really tell that that says obtuse. Okay, because I wanted to know the total between these two. That's why I figured out what this one was at and what this one was at and subtracted them. Okay, BDC. So we got BDC. So this one's sitting at 25, and this one is sitting at 80. So the total in between here, 80 minus 25, is 55. Okay, anything less than 90 is acute, so that's an acute angle. BDF, so we got B, oops, that wasn't B, BDF. So we're wondering from here to here. So we can just check to see where this one sits here on the low end because it's obviously bigger than 90 degrees. So we know it's between 150 and 160, so it should be 155, which is obtuse. Okay, last one, ADF. So we got A, oopsies. Okay, ADF. So we got a straight line. Straight lines always equal 180 degrees. Okay, so that's a straight line. Sorry for the messy handwriting. So there's all my answers right there.